Welcome back to Brinth Lab, where we transform obstacles into opportunities and anxiety into strength. My name is Henry, and before we begin, I want you to know that here at Brinth Lab, we want to go deep, not wide. I'm not doing this for views, likes, or subscribers, but I am grateful for them because they help me to fulfill my dream, to make connections with people with anxiety, people like me. I want to teach them what I've learned to help them overcome their fears. This channel is just a means to that end. In that spirit, here's a screenshot of everything you will learn in today's video. I genuinely just want to pass this information on to you, even if you don't have time to watch. If you find yourself not understanding, strongly disagreeing, or strongly agreeing with any one of these lessons, I would advise you to use that as a signal to indicate that you need to stick around and hear me out. You are going to learn something about yourself. If simply reading these lessons added a little enlightenment to your life, then hop off this channel right now, put down your device, and go live your life. That said, a like and subscribe before you go would help me connect with someone else, and that would be much appreciated. So let's dive in. I recently had one of my trainees call me, and the first thing they said was, "I am extremely anxious right now." We had a transformative conversation, and by the end of it, they said their anxious feelings had left them. I am going to do my best to recreate that conversation for you. As you watch, insert yourself into the conversation, and by the end, maybe your anxious feelings will have left you as well. The intensity. So I got a call from one of my trainees. We'll call him Solomon. And the first thing he said was,
"I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm feeling extremely anxious right now."
By the way, my trainees' anxiety always has them convinced that they're bothering me, even though I keep telling them that this is what I want to do with my life. Even so, when I get a call like this, I usually ask the person to quantify their anxiety. It's a great way to put things into perspective and ground yourself in the feeling as opposed to trying to run from it. Here is a scale that I use for this. Solomon said,
I feel like I'm at about a 9.
The list. Next, I asked for the list. Yes, the list. The list of all the problems Solomon had to tell me about. All the reasons he thinks are the source of his anxiety. I am summarizing, but in a nutshell, here's what he said. He recently started a new job and he was afraid he wouldn't be able to perform. If that was the case, he was worried he wouldn't be able to provide for his family as money was tight. He also said he felt like he didn't have a good support system as his wife was not a healthy communicator. And he never took the time or had the courage to develop meaningful friendships. Lastly, all of this was underpinned by some health anxiety because he was having some issues with his lower back. His back was often in pain. He also worried that this would get worse and that would affect his performance at work as well. Solomon had done a fantastic job of creating a pervasive anxiety web of these problems, where each was somehow connected to the other, and if one got worse, they were all going to get worse. But for some odd reason, if one got better, the others wouldn't. Anxiety is so much fun. I love it. Gang, as I said, please insert yourself into this conversation. Bring all of your current problems to the front of your mind and insert them here. It's not about the list. Once Solomon felt like he had sufficiently informed me of what was going on in his life, I asked a very simple question. Why did you call me? He was taken aback. He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm not a career building expert. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a marriage counselor or relationship expert. I'm also not a doctor or spine specialist. So if your problem is with those things, I cannot assist you." Solomon laughed. I could tell he was already feeling less anxious. He had an epiphany. His mind and heart had shifted. He didn't call me because of any external problem he was having. Therefore, his thinking was erroneous in believing that those things were the source of his problem. He called me because of the way he felt. He called me for the same reason everyone calls me. They call me because of what's going on inside. Recognize your issues at their source. They are in you, not an external reality. I am not anxious. You are not anxious. Solomon is spiritually inclined, as we all are, whether we realize it or not. He was already feeling a lot better. We could have probably just stopped there, but we both wanted to go deeper. So I got him to write down, "The feeling is within me." Journaling is so wonderful because it brings your internal reality into external reality. It makes it real. Then I explained an extremely simple concept that for some reason is very hard for most to grasp, and especially hard to hold on to. Remember the first thing Solomon said to me? I am extremely anxious right now. Wrong. I said, wrong, Solomon. You are not extremely anxious, and you never have been. You aren't even Solomon. You are you. It might be accurate to say a feeling of anxiety is present within you and that it is powerful or intense, but never identify with a feeling. A huge mistake all of my trainees make, yes, all, is they think they've had the same feeling twice. They think the feeling belongs to them. Every sage from every theology, from every culture has told us that everything is constantly changing. Reality is in constant flux. So don't kid yourself, Solomon. You have never had the same thought or feeling twice. Don't identify with it. You don't own it. It doesn't belong to you. You don't belong to it. This too shall pass. You want to be anxious. So firstly, Solomon was ready to admit that he called me because of how he felt. The way he felt was his problem, nothing else. Secondly, he was ready to admit that feeling was within him and nowhere else. And lastly, he agreed to do his best to not identify with those feelings. But then he did something that may surprise you. He started telling me how much he loved his anxiety. He didn't say that explicitly, but he might as well have. He started to backtrack. Basically, this is what he asked me. But how am I supposed to be at peace when my marriage is this way? How am I supposed to be at peace when I don't have enough money or resources to support my loved ones? How am I supposed to be at peace with these ongoing health issues? Remember, gang, insert whatever problem you are having here. I had to hit him with the truth. He didn't want to let go of his anxiety. He wanted to be anxious. He loved it. After all, he spent so much time doing it. Let me put this differently. No matter how much he said otherwise, he was not ready to be unconditionally at peace. He was saying, make my wife more supportive and I'll stop being so anxious. Make me rich and I'll stop being so anxious. Give me perfect health and I'll stop being so anxious. He was defending his anxiety like it was his child. He demanded hanging on to it until everything was just right and the whole world around him had changed. But that's not how it works. I told him the massive delusion that keeps us all trapped in our negative thoughts and emotions. We believe that we feel good because life or the world is good.
Wrong!
Just the opposite. The world is good because you feel good. Life is good because you feel good. When you change, everything changes. When you change on the inside, everything on the outside changes. When you feel like crap, the world is crap. When you feel full of love, the world is full of love. We obsess over and defend our right to be anxious with our last breath because we think it starts on the outside and works inwards. Wrong! We are spiritual beings. We have a soul. The universe is within us. It's inside out. It is so self-evident. I don't get frustrated like this with Solomon, by the way, but I get scared that people I'm not able to talk to directly feel the same way. Because I know I have. Having this conversation with Solomon changed both of our lives, just like every conversation I have with one of my trainees. Oftentimes, I'd like to think it makes their life better, because every time it makes my life better. My struggle has helped Solomon, and now I hope his struggle has helped you. We are in this together. Here at Brinth Lab, we blend physical fitness, mental health, and spiritual principles to help you overcome anxiety and lead a more fulfilling life. You can think of me like your personal trainer for anxiety. We can connect, I can coach you, and I look forward to getting to know you and walking this path together. So if you are struggling with anxiety, please take the first step and reach out to me at care@brintlab.com. Remember, as above, so below. Stay strong and keep experimenting.